Yep.
Like, take half press and shove it up your half and half and have your coffee.
Casino trip, full of chips. Wanna flip, double it.
Welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, where the stakes are high, the takes are bold, and the conversations are always full of chips. With your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps, you're tuned in to Full of Chips, the podcast where we dive into our experiences gambling and stories straight from the casino floor. Whether you're a seasoned pro at the craps table or just curious what the buzz is about, you're in the right place. Each week, we break down the games, talk to the experts, and bring you tips that could tilt the odds in your favor. So grab your lucky charm, stack your chips, and let's roll into today's episode. What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 37 of the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you will never lose, with your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are we today?
I'm feeling silly right now, but, we got something coming in a few minutes, and I guarantee you it had me hotter than the sun. I don't want to spoil anything, so that's why I'm not even cursing right now, but there will be some cursing in a few minutes.
There we go. Craig's feeling silly. That is good. Love when Craig's feeling silly. I don't know if it's the beverage making him silly or what,
Not yet.
but always entertaining. I will be silly by the end of this episode because I pulled a Craig today, and I will be adding Diet Coke to my beverage throughout the episode because Degen took his eye off the pour and just kept going and kept going, and then I realized, shit, I have no room for Diet Coke. But get to that in a minute. Craig, guess what? Guess what Degen started doing?
What'd you do?
So one of Mrs. Degen's friends got us a little kit a while back for
Kinda kit.
sourdough.
Okay.
So Degen has become a sourdough aficionado over here.
Are you a
I
baker?
am I am baking. And for all the people at home who are struggling with your sourdoughs, if you struggle with your sourdoughs, give Papa Degen a call. He'll help you because first try on the starter, flawless. First
Nice.
ever sourdough bake, impeccable. I'm through 3 of them now. Oh man. I mean, nothing better than some fresh baked bread. I got to tell you.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. But I've not delved into the baked goods, but I've heard that there's this one app that I use for cooking that I started using out of COVID, and it had 3 ways to make a burger. A quick smash burger, which is minutes. It had like a 10-minute burger, and then it had like a 30-minute burger where you're also making the brioche buns from scratch. So I've not attempted that yet, but I may attempt that. I'm waiting for that KitchenAid mixer, which I've never had before. So
There you go.
baking is very specific. It is
I
very
hate
precise.
baking.
You
I
can't
hate it.
you fuck up the ingredients in baking, and it will not turn out how you want.
Exactly. That's why I don't do it because
Yeah.
the wife does all the baking. I will not bake. I refuse. Now with the sourdough though, oh, I'm into it. But before that, yeah, any baking that needed to be done in Degen's household, the wife did. Even if I was supposed to bring something somewhere and she wasn't coming, I was like, "Yo, babe, I need this made," because I don't follow recipes. I don't follow directions. I don't follow anything. So, when you give me recipes and tell me I need to put exactly this much of something in, I hate it. Why? Because when I cook the way I cook. And I dabble and I try things and I cook to taste, but I don't need no measurements. I don't need to be told, "Oh, put a teaspoon of this, shove the teaspoon up your ass." I don't need it. All right.
Right.
I'll figure out how much I need of things. However, I'm getting into the baking, I guess, with the sourdoughs, but I'm doing it for the wife because she's got the gluten allergy. So I made
There you go.
gluten-free sourdoughs and all this stuff, and it actually tastes pretty good. Because I don't know if you ever had gluten-free bread. It's disgusting.
I've had a gluten-free pizza. Does that count?
Yeah, I guess. Was it okay? Edible?
That was good. It was at an Italian restaurant. It was pretty damn good.
So some of them, like when you go to an Italian restaurant and they make like their own gluten-free dough, it's good. Like there's a lot of the pizza places or like Italian restaurants that use like this pre-bought, pre-packaged
Yeah.
gluten-free dough.
Free shit.
For anyone at home who wants to know what it tastes like, take a box and just bite the box. That's what it tastes like.
Make sure the box is nice and dirty when you bite it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, rub it in some dirt and then bite that shit. Oh man.
Does Mrs. Degen like spinach artichoke dip at all?
Loves it.
Because OBC makes a spinach artichoke dip in a sourdough bowl.
That sounds delicious. Funny enough, she was just talking about that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying that we need to make one of those.
Yeah, really good.
So I guess Craig needs to come here so he can make it.
I imagine if you're making all that dough, you got to wash it down with something.
Oh yes.
What
It
you
must always be washed down. I am drinking out of the FOC cup, of course. I have some Michter's and Diet Coke.
Yeah, Minters and Diet Coke, nice.
It's okay. It's not my favorite. We had some people over and somebody brought it, and it's good.
Hey, you got to finish the free alcohol at some time.
Gotta finish it. What are you drinking?
I, in a similar whiskey glass, have Tennessee honey whiskey with very little Diet Coke.
There you go. Shout out Lou for the glassware.
I thought you were gonna say shout out to little Diet Coke.
Yeah, no, shout out Little Diet Coke too, but shout out Lou for the glassware. Lou's a
Thank you,
fan
Lou.
of Diet Coke too, because Lou is in case anybody cares what Lou's order at the craps table is, it's Diet Coke, no fruit. But
Yeah, Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. Yeah.
well, it's because Harris has freaking Diet Pepsi.
I know it's Harris. Harris specifically has Diet Pepsi.
Miserable. I mean, I'm not a
Well,
Pepsi
we had to
fan,
have
really,
it.
but
We had to have it, right? We had to
Yeah.
have the Diet Pepsi for the show.
I mean, listen, I'll drink it, but like if you ask me if I want Coke or Pepsi, it's Coke every time. But listen, I can deal with the Diet Pepsi. All right, I can deal with it.
Well, the reason you could deal with it is because we had Crown in it, and that helped.
Well, that beverage was delicious, but yes, because of the Crown. That's why it was delicious.
That's right.
My Diet Pepsi at the table is delicious because there's a lemon in it.
Ah,
Yes.
there you go. There you go.
There we go. There we go. But Craig, I've been dying over here to know what this special award goes to, because for the folks at home, Craig has told me about the FOC FOS Award for like 5 days now, but DGen doesn't even know what it's for. So Craig, I'm gonna turn it over to you for our
right.
FOC FOS Award.
All right, for this, and we'll put a picture up before you can see it now, and then I'm going to show you where we are right now before I go into it. And this is where we are right now. So let me turn my hand, and if you all can see all the red mark, that is right there. That's some blistering. That's second-degree burn right there. So the picture that we showed beforehand covers most of the back of my hand, which was first-degree burn, except for that little section. Now, where did I get this second-degree burn? I got this second-degree burn. Now, I can't blame the wife. You can't go around blaming the wife, right? I was coming back from the dealership because I got an oil change there, and she said, "Can you stop by Mickey fucking D's?" So I said, "Sure. What do you want?" She said, half sweet iced tea. And I figured while I was in the drive-thru, I'd get myself a steak bagel sandwich and a large coffee, right? Now, the person, now the drive-through windows are half the size, so that means they only have this much space open now because of, I don't know, now the glass is bulletproof. I don't know. Too many people mugging the drive-through person. So this young girl who, I hope she's not working there anymore, but OBC kept us cool. Please believe me. I kept my cool. I kept my cool. Okay. She hands me the cup. In a split second, I see that the lid's not all the way on. And when I grabbed it, the cup inverted and exploded in my hand. And hot coffee went all over my hand. Never went in the car, went all over my hand. I took it pretty well for how hot that fucking coffee was. Did she apologize? No. She handed me a new coffee. Was I so pissed that I didn't say anything? Yeah, because I had already paid in the previous window. So I drove home, administered first aid to my hand. Then when I was all done doing that, I called the McDonald's location to speak to their manager. The assistant manager answered, quote unquote. She said, "I, the little manager." I was like, "Well, where's the big manager?" She said, "Not here." And I explained the situation to her. Now, I work in customer service. The first thing you say when something like this happens is, "I'm so sorry that happened." She didn't apologize either. So I left my number, waited for the phone call from the store manager, never got a call. 2 days went by, never got a call. Went to McDonald's corporate. went to their customer feedback section, gave a whole spiel what happened. They emailed me back, sorry for the inconvenience. Nothing else. Like, no, we'd like to refund, your order. We'd like to give you free coffee for a year. Something to at least say, I'm sorry that scalding hot coffee landed all over your hand. So Mickey fucking D's gets the FOC FOS Award and can go fuck themselves because I'm a Burger King fan now. Okay? Okay?
There you go.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Now, I've heard, Chris, from other people that people have sued McDonald's for less.
Yes. Do you know that that's why they have to put caution hot contents on coffee cups now?
Well, they should add to it, don't spill it on the customer. And if you do, it'll go all the way around the cup. If you do, apologize immediately.
Yeah.
So when it happened, I looked down at the cup. You know how some cups, like when you go to like Wawa's or whatever, some bad cups are twisted on the rim or they're inverted?
Yeah.
That's what was on this cup. That's why when I grabbed it, it crushed immediately because it was so fragile.
That's terrible. I
Fuck
must
you,
say,
Mickey D's.
I must say you handled that very, very well. Extremely impressive. DGen would have thrown an absolute fit. I can tell you that right now. I would have held up that drive-through line until a manager came to the window to talk to me. Corporate would have been bent over a table, and I'd be doing you know what from behind because no, like DGen would have been so pissed off. So I guess props to you for how you handled it. Craig, I am sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
And I hope the hand is healing nicely.
It is healing, just slowly. Now, I do have a neighbor in the neighborhood who used to own 3 franchises. So I may talk to them about what they think I should do.
Oh, you definitely should.
I would trust their judgment.
Yes, you need reparations for those damages. You need reparations because that is terrible.
I am here to tell you that coffee is fucking hot.
Yeah, it is. It is very hot. Every time I get coffee from there, I burn the shit out of my mouth. Every time. It's like it sits in the car for 30 minutes before I can drink it.
This is much cooler in your hand.
Much, much cooler in your hand. Well, Craig, it's funny that you have a it's not funny, but it's coincidental that you have a hot FOC FOS Award because it kind of goes into our first topic a little bit in terms of personalities at the table and decisions that you make. Sometimes you can be confident, sometimes you can be timid, chaotic, hot-headed. You never know. So, Craig, what do you think on your personality shaping decisions at the table?
I think we've seen all 3 at the table, whether it's your local or in Atlantic City. Personality drives all your decision making, and we've seen people with calculated confidence to fear-based hesitation to full tilt chaos. I'm sure DGen could tell you multitude of stories about full tilt chaos at the tables. But we're gonna explain, not really explain, we're gonna explore why players bet the way that they do and how those tendencies shapes their wins and their losses and their emotional swings. The confident player, Chris, would you say you're a confident player?
Yes, more often than not, but all the time. Definitely confident. Sometimes more confident than other times, but I guess it depends on how the session's going. But still always confident. You can't, in my opinion, right? Once I lose the confidence, I can't play anymore, right? For me, once you lose that confident feeling or that, level of confidence, let's say, as soon as you see that go, then I know it's time to go. And it rarely happens to me that I get, unconfident in my abilities or anything like that. But it's very rare that you'll see me shift from confident to timid. It doesn't really happen. But again, that's solely based on the discipline piece of things with bankroll management, right?
Well, I think
playing
part
with
of
money.
It, go ahead. I think part of it is you see 4 PSOs and your confidence level goes right.
I mean, like, I'm not going to say I'm, super high confidence at all times, right? Because, like, you may see me not bet on somebody. Somebody could judge that as, oh, I'm not confident in them to be. Shoot, yeah, probably. You're probably right. But it doesn't change my overall confidence at the table. Now, yes, 4 PSOs may knock my confidence. Why? Because I got caught my pants down 4 times in a row. But again, that's not going to really change much for me other than it might tell me it's time to go from the table, which it did when we were in Atlantic City a couple weeks ago, right? Where, quite a few PSOs in a row, and I knew it's time to go. Now, did my confidence waver a little bit? Sure, because I just got burnt 6 times. But am I gun shy for the rest of the trip? Am I timid for the rest of the trip? No, I know there's more sessions, more time on the tables. I can get that money back, not a problem, all this kind of stuff. So, like, in the moment, sure, confidence definitely drops. But from an overall perspective, the confidence is still there. The confidence in myself, even after IPSO, right? And this is the thing I think a lot of people who are especially shooters, right? You gotta, they all know we're all gonna PSO. We're all gonna have short rolls, right? You can't let that totally affect you. And yes, you might hurt some people that because you're gonna PSO and they're gonna lose money, right? But ultimately it's their decision to bet how they're betting, right? And as a shooter, right, that, one PSO is not going to dictate your entire day. It's not going to dictate your entire trip. And if you let it dictate your trip, then you probably shouldn't be shooting. Or you need to be a more practiced shooter to know that that's going to happen.
But see, when you say practice shooter, there's more than just one meaning. There's not just the practice shooter like you practice to be a confident tosser. It's about a practice shooter that knows when to change things, when to change it up because something's not working. Because most confident players stay calm, right, during the cold streaks. But there's a very thin line between confidence and when your ego takes over. And it's not so much bravado as part of your ego. It's more of, I'm confident. I know this works. I've seen it work. I know this works. That's the ego taking over, telling you, look, buddy, it just ain't happening today.
Yep. No, 100%. And I mean, like, even, in the last episode, shared an example, right, where I was down to my last $35 on a buy-in. Going into that, most people's level of confidence is not going to be very high, right? I can tell you mine wasn't very high. I had literally everything that I bought in for that session out on the felt. Now, my confidence may not have been high there. However, my confidence in myself was high because the first toss, I knew what the dice were doing. And I was confident in my ability to take advantage of that if I could keep shooting the way that I was shooting in that first toss that I had on the second toss, right? And once I got the confidence going and I started really, really taking advantage of it, then, I mean, the confidence skyrocketed. Now, you may say, oh, yeah, ego probably took over. It probably did, maybe a little bit, right? But I'm not going to fault anybody who hits 4 or 5 hard sixes without hitting an easy 6 and is betting on the 6 and the hard 6. I'm not going to fault you if your ego takes over a little bit.
But that's the thing. It may not be as much ego as you just go into autopilot. I kind of put autopilot with the confident player, because your bet progressions, they're just automatic. You know that once you get started, and maybe you were low confidence because you were down to your $35. But again, you had mentioned, and that was a great point, you had belief in yourself that you knew if you could just get a couple of hits, you could pull through it. And that's different than, I think, bringing ego into it. That's more like,
Agreed.
I am confident because I know I've pulled myself out of the jam before. That happened to me at Harris as well. When I was down to my last 140, went to the table. I was like, I'm either going to do something with this or I'm out, because I got nothing left. But the dice came to me and I wasn't prepared for the dice to come to me so early. And I was like, either I have to put up or I have to shut up because the dice are in my hands now. And I was like, okay. And that's when I hit the 5-point fire bet.
Yep.
I was like, if I'm going to pull myself out of the hole, it's got to be me doing it. I got to do it for myself. Otherwise, I'm not going to have any confidence the next time I come.
100%. And see, that's the thing with, I guess some people may say like a shooter's mentality or something along those lines where, even if I'm not having a great day, I still have a ton of confidence in myself. I still have a ton of confidence in the people that I know at the tables that are going to shoot. And even if they're not on their best that day, I'm still confident in them because I've seen a large enough sample size. Right now, that confidence may not exist with some Joe Schmo that I never met on the table. Right. I don't know this person. So my confidence in them isn't going to be super high. Now, does that mean they're not going to have a good role? No, absolutely not. But I'm going to be less confident in somebody like that than I would be in somebody that I know or myself. And it's only because of the large enough sample size that I've seen, right? Like, I've seen you throw enough to know that, okay, I'm confident in Craig's ability to get me back. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, right? But I'd rather take the swing on somebody that I know and I've seen do it before, as opposed to take the swing on somebody that I have not a clue as to what they do, how they do it, anything like that.
But here's something you didn't do. You didn't chase. You adjusted. Well, you had to adjust because you were down to $35. So if you're normally playing a 6 and 8 at, like, let's say 30 each, you couldn't. You only had $35.
Yeah.
But
I was shooting.
So
I had to have a line bet.
Right. You have to, right. And just to be clear to everybody out there, I was on the table, but I wasn't on the table when Chris started his roll. By the time I got to the table, Chris had already thrown 4 sixes. He wound up throwing at least 9 that I can think of. And he hit a sweet hard 6 for the both of us because we both had the same reaction where we both yelled and we both walked away from the table and came back to the table. But that doesn't happen if you don't stay calm, readjust, press accordingly. Until you were up a little bit, then you could start pressing the way I know you like to press. And I think, what did you say? You ended up, went from 35 to over 700?
Yeah, I had 900 in the rack and 400 out on the felt. So
there you go.
Turned, again, for the folks at home who, the math isn't mathing, $35, a $15 pass line, $5 world bet, 555 on the ATS. Should I have placed the ATS? Probably not, but I still would have had one bet. So I needed to hit numbers and specifically line bets to get myself money to actually place other bets, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I had to do. But for the folks at home too, who, are sitting and listening, right? This is something that if you have a table or you have a shooting station, I would recommend practicing something like this. Right? We all talk about, situations you find yourself in when you're at the tables. And do we want to be $35 in the rack? Hell no. But I've done it on my table before. I've done it at the casino before. But I've done it numerous times on my table where I put myself in a situation where I know I have to get back. Right? And when I'm in Atlantic City with the crew, do I have other people who can shoot that I would, go out there and do what I need to do? Absolutely. But if I go to my local, it might just be me. So that's something that I've practiced at home. And people might think it's corny to practice something like that, but it's actual real world experience that I know you're not, risking real money, right? You're playing on your own table, your own shooting station with fake money. Fine. Put yourself in the scenario though, right? Because you could find yourself in that situation in the casino. And if you've dealt with it at home or you've practiced it, it's not going to feel new to you. For a lot of people to see that $35 there and be like, well, full panic mode, right? What do you do? Why? What do you do? You put $35 in the field hoping to hit a field number? Like, how do I do this? Well, if you practice it, you'll kind of understand what you need to do and have a plan of action. Is it going to work all the time? Absolutely not. Is it going to go to zero more often than not? Probably. But if you can practice it and you can, figure a way out of the paper bag that you find yourself in, it's a lot better to do it at home and then have that experience than to find yourself first time ever at the casino in that experience.
Well, let's be honest with everybody. Any one of these kinds of players, personality types, can have a role. Anybody. We know that. We've seen that. But what's interesting is that you're leading right into the next personality type, which is the timid player. Because I think the biggest difference between a confident player and a timid player is hesitation. Because most times the timid player just won't put it out there to risk. They played already. Now, I guess there are two subtypes, because you could have a timid player who's timid all the time, or somebody who becomes timid because they were confident, but then they lost their ass. And they either have to decide, am I going to keep playing, or am I just going to stop playing? You
Yep.
know, we've come across, you might know somebody very close that may have done that. Shall remain
Maybe.
nameless.
Maybe.
But, but I think that's the biggest difference between a confident player and a timid player is hesitation. They overprotect their money, right? Now they're hoarding over their rack of whatever's left in it, or they have a full rack and they can have $1,000 buy-in and wind up not spending more than 100 of it
Mm-hmm.
because they're
Which
just
is fine if that's their plan, right? Or that's how they want to play or whatever it is. I think you made a key
Yeah.
point there, right? With the person who becomes timid, right? That's when earlier when I was saying that I know that's time to leave. Now, I personally don't really get timid anymore. It just doesn't happen. I used to, but I know
Yeah,
for
I
myself
did.
that's time to leave when I start getting that way. Like, because the thing is, right? And I'm not knocking on anybody who is timid in general. Okay. Don't take this the wrong way. But if you're going to be timid like that, you shouldn't be gambling in the first place. Or you should go find something that's a lower minimum to play on, because that'll help you be less timid. And I'm not going to tell you it's going to make you, an aggressive on tilt type of person. But if you're timid about certain bets or bet sizing, you probably shouldn't be doing it, right?
But
Because
here's
the
the
timid
thing.
comes from your subconscious telling you, is it a good idea or not? And if you have that, probably shouldn't be doing it.
I think that one of the best things for a timid player is just don't bring the normal bankroll that you thought you wanted to bring. Bring something extremely less.
Mm-hmm.
If you were wanting to bring $1,000 and you just can't bring yourself to play it properly, take 100. You probably won't be as timid bringing in very little low bankroll, because if you lose it, doesn't hurt you none. It's $100.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a good day, any of us have turned $100 into $400.
Oh yeah,
We've done it at the
plenty of
blackjack
times.
table, right? But I think also more the timid player, they're the ones making the late bets, but also the chaotic players make late bets too.
Yeah.
But it's the late bets, it's the missed bets, and I think one of the biggest thing about timid player, because I used to be a timid player, during my probably the first 4 years of playing craps, which is probably what led to a lot of losing sessions, is you're pressing at the wrong time and you're regressing at the wrong time. Like you're doing it the opposite. You're pressing, like, if a four hit, why are you pressing the 10? Why are you even betting the 10? The 4 is what hit. Like the mindset of, I'm going to bet the sister number. Why? Just bet the number that just rolled, because we've said before, what's more than likely to happen? A repeat number. I think too many, a lot of people play sister numbers, yes, but I bet you a lot of people lose money playing sister numbers because that other number just never hits. But I think the timid player also plays with tiny units. So remember, we didn't say tiny bankroll. You can have a person that brings 1,000 to 1,500, 2,000 as their buy-in, but they're playing small. They're playing table minimums, and that's fine if that's what they wanted to do, if that was their plan. But I guarantee you that when we're talking timid players, that wasn't their plan. Their plan was to go across. Their plan was to go 66 inside. What did they wind up doing? Barely getting the bets to the dealer, to where the dealer's saying something like, "Are you going to bet or not?"
Yeah.
You know, they seem apologetic at the table. Even when they're shooting, they're like trying to shoot to not piss people off. Like you can't care what other people think. Like when I'm playing, and Chris knows this because this is the way Chris plays. He could not give two shits about the people that are around the table. And we are talking totally different than AC Crew. We're talking about if Chris is at his local and there's a bunch of ne'er-do-wells on a Friday night crowding the table, he couldn't give two shits if he pisses him off. In fact,
Nope.
I guarantee you, if somebody tries to yell at Chris will retort in proper degen fashion.
Oh, yes. I will, and I have. I mean, I think I was telling you last time I was at my local, there was a don't player at the end of the table, and I mean, listen, nice guy, don't get me wrong. But he was like getting mad at me, and like chirping me because I kept knocking them off. And I'm like, dude, are you gonna learn? Like, I know you're betting the don'ts. Why don't you just stop betting the don't? Just stop betting it on me. How about that? Right? And does it work out sometimes? Sure. Right? But after you see me knock you off 2 or 3 times, stop it. Right? I play the don't sometimes. Okay? I don't let a shooter beat me more than twice. They can beat me twice. They do not beat me a third time. Why? Because I will not go out there on the don't again. It's stupid. You see him do it. I did it in Atlantic City, right? Don't player comes in right to the table, stacking chips right in the landing zone. Knocked them off in 5 rolls, I think. I knocked them off twice in 5 rolls. Set a point, hit the point, did something, set a point, hit a point, bang. Gone from the table, right? That's his decision. That's fine. You don't have to leave the table, though. Just stop betting on the person. Because it's gonna people are gonna keep doing it. And yes, you start chirping at me at the table, I will certainly chirp back to you. And if I'm shooting, be careful. Because when DGen is shooting, or when you start chirping at somebody DGen is with, I'm like mama hen over here. Like, don't talk to my kids that way, because I'll kick your ass.
But you know, the person playing the don't could be a confident player, but most of the don't players we know are undisciplined players. Because why? Because they're stackers. We love the stackers. Why do we love the stackers? Because we love to hit points all day long, come to a fire bet table and try to play the don't. The whole point
Yeah.
of a fire bet table is to make points. And people who more often than not can make a point or know how to make a point will choose that table because that's what they want. But in turn, they're going to be sniping don't players right and left. But I see it all the time at Maryland Live. The stackers, they stack $100,000 on the don't, and I throw an 11 on the come out. They double it. I throw another 11. They double it. I throw a come out 7. Here I am making money every time on the pass line because I'm the shooter, and they're losing three times in a row before a point's made. And then what happens? I hit the point, make the point, just knocked them off again. Like they think they got the best of me on their third stack because now I made a point. You know, now I established a point, and it was a 5. 3 rolls later, 5. Sorry, knocked you off. Well, did I knock you off for $2,000? Oh, my bad. Sorry. But most people, but you know, this goes right into the undisciplined player, because these people are playing off emotion like crazy. I would say the timid player is playing a little bit off emotion, but it's really their hesitation and their overprotection of their bankroll.
Definitely.
But the undisciplined player, they're just going full tilt. They're betting on impulse. You know, they're the ones yelling at you, like you said. Like if I have bets on the 6-8 and I'm the shooter, why the fuck are you telling me to hit a 4? Fuck you. I don't want to hit a 4. I want to hit 6s and 8s. You know, their betting is more superstition or they're revenge betting. We've seen plenty of people revenge bet, you know, like, oh, you got me that time, but watch this, boom, boom. And you're like, you just put 1,000 in the field. Here's an 8.
They just wreak havoc at the table. I mean, they're the one who are standing with all the chips in their hand, right? Just tossing quarters at the dealer, like the dealer's even looking at them. Dealer's looking at the other side of the table, and they're just hard 6, hard 4, horn high, yo. I'm like, all right. And then, they say, well, I want the hard 8. I'm like, it's the one number you didn't bet in the prop area. Like, what are you asking for here? Or, you sit there and like, those players, because it's pure chaos. It's just what do they want? They want something to happen, and more often than not, it doesn't. Right? Because they're betting again. We talked about the high house edge, high vig bets. Right? Yes, they have high payouts. They have high payouts for a reason. But you see that person, you're chucking, and I'm like, congratulations, dude! I hit a horn high yo. Do you even make your money back? Like, you tossed so much shit in the middle. I don't even know if you make your money back if I hit.
What's funny, earlier you said they threw a quarter at the dealer. Of course, the dealer then goes, next time, just toss it to the stick guy. I don't make bets in the prop section.
Yeah.
I'm the dealer. The boxes are my guys. So, they discipline the undisciplined player, if you will.
Well, and those are the people too that are causing problems all over the place. Not even at that point in time, but then after the roll, they're causing a problem because, I had the hard 10. No, you didn't. No,
They're
you didn't.
always arguing. Yeah.
Yeah, always arguing. And then what does that do? Stops the game, slows the game down for sure. Now the shooter's not getting the dice, right? They're going to argue a point. The dealer now can't even place the other side's bets. So now we got to wait for you to argue. Then everybody else can place their bets or do whatever they have to do. And it's a very inconsiderate way to play.
They're the ones that after all of that yell out to the shooter, one more hit, one more hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like motherfucker, do you know all the negative energy you just brought to the table? Like this whole side of the table is like, everybody turn me off.
Yep.
Everybody turn off. I mean, I think you said you've done this before. I have not. I know other people that have done that who have told the whole table, turn your bets off, turn your bets off, turn your bets off.
Oh, I do it all the
You
time.
know,
Like,
because if you're the
and
shooter, you're just
yeah,
like, bam, like just. I think was it Jeff at Harris that the I don't know if it was because the guy bought in, but I think he was just doing something and Jeff got pissed, and that's when he threw the dice. They
mhm.
tried to I think he hit the person in the chest, right?
Yeah, he was chalking them. Yeah. Yep. No, I do it all the time because, like, I'm a firm believer in, whatever the shooter's doing is what I'm gonna do. So, like, if you're shooting and I see you turn your bets off, I'm turning my bets off
Right.
because if you know something, I'm gonna be like, I don't want to be, caught out in the cold basically and be like, now, will it cost me payouts? Sure, but I try to tell people, like, especially when I am shooting, right? And if we're playing with people that I know or that I'm friendly with or whatever it may be, I make it a point to let them know that I am turning my bets off.
Yeah.
And it's on you if you want to turn your bets off or not. I won't specifically tell you, hey, turn your bets off, but I may say to you, like, I'm turning off. If I were you, I would turn off too.
Right. I'm not your mama. I'm just suggesting
Yeah.
that
I'm just
I'm about
suggesting
to
it.
throw
Why?
something chaotic.
Well, and like again, right? I mean, I'm the shooter. I know what's going on. I know what's going on in my head. I know what's going on the table. Like, if I'm not confident in that toss, why don't you sacrifice the one payout, turn your bets off, and let's see what happens, right? Because I won't keep them off. I'll turn them back on, but I need something to like. I need to be off, stress free for that one roll, basically, so I can just get it out of the system because something is off, right? The mentality's off. Something is off, and I know some people be like, "Well, you shouldn't let that stuff phase you." That's fine. You can say that all you want. I don't care, right?
Right.
If I'm sitting at a table and you're the one who's shooting and you have to wait 6 minutes in between tosses and you've got a whole circus show going on at the table, you're going to tell me you're not affected? Are you deaf? You have
Did
to
you
be.
not just hear all this yelling minutes ago? Because
Yeah,
it was a disruption to the table.
it was a disruption. Exactly that. Exactly that.
But see, they're also the ones that are taking the dice and chucking them like they're trying to break them. Like
Oh, yeah.
normally they're throwing them up against the wall. I don't know why the fuck they're throwing them up against the wall. I guess they're looking for a number to pop up, but it doesn't matter because then they're setting the dice to the number that was not on top when they decided to stop throwing them up against the wall.
Yeah.
And then once they set
I would
them,
love to
and then once
know
they set
what
them,
they're
they
looking
just
for.
then once they set them, they just go like that. Like
Mhm.
you didn't even do it like in a proper fashion. You just picked them up and chucked them. Like you could save yourself and probably get twice as many rolls in an hour if you could stop doing that shit.
My favorite is well, it's not my favorite. It's my least favorite actually. Is when they do all that shit, right? They I don't know, they school the dice or whatever. They get their number, they set them, and then they pick up the dice and shake them
Shake
up.
'em.
I'm like,
Shake and bake.
what are you doing? Like, why did you just spend 37 seconds doing what you just did? Like, can you explain to me what's going on here? Why didn't you just pick them up and chuck them? Because that's what you're doing anyway.
It makes no sense. I mean, they have no consistency in what they're doing, no consistency in their betting. They're all over the place. Their timing sucks, and their bankroll management is null and void. They don't have any bankroll management. They literally,
Nope.
and we've seen them at the blackjack table or the craps table. We've seen them just go from 0 to 60 and then walk away with nothing. But they've
Oh
already
yeah.
spent thousands of dollars. Thousands, Chris. I mean, Jesus, right? I mean, at least I'm good enough to lose 1,000 over 3 days, not in one session.
Yeah.
But we've seen them
I
lose
mean, it's like
thousands
their
in one
pockets,
session.
the ATM. They just keep pulling them, pulling money, money. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, it's like you said, right? It's the person who's who's, throwing, let's say 5s and 6s, and this guy's out here hopping quarters on the 10s. I'm like, this guy hasn't rolled a 10 in 20-something rolls. Why the hell are you doing that? Oh, because I want to. Okay, fine.
We're telling you all this because if your personality, how your personality shows up at the table, whether it's betting patterns, timing, or even your dice throwing, you, the audience, can certainly identify your own tendencies and in turn tighten up your game.
Yep.
Our experiences are entirely personality driven. Here's an example. 2 players, stick left 1, stick left 2, standing side by side, bet on the same shooter, see the same rolls, and both walk away with completely different results in their buy-in or bankroll. Just completely different. Why? Because the game isn't just math. I know that we may have said it, some of it's math before, but it's not just math. It's impulse control. It's ego management.
Yep.
You have to check your ego at the casino door. And then it's emotional pattern recognition. I mean, you have to be able to control yourself in any way, whether it's controlled shooting or controlled betting or control yourself knowing when to stop. When if things are just not going well, walk away. That's a bit of control. Do the things that you can control, because you can control your bet progressions. Nobody's stopping you there.
Nope.
It's interesting because this game, Chris, of craps is one of the very few where we can control the outcomes. Like, you don't always have to walk away with a losing session. See, a lot of times I think people are at the table and if they're with other people they know, they tend to keep to one way of playing because they think if they play a different way, it'll be looked bad upon by the other people at the table. But Chris and I have already said, you cannot give a shit about somebody else's opinion with your money.
Yeah. You don't care about other people's opinions at the table. And like, if they're your friends, that's one thing. But even then, you still shouldn't really care all that much because it's your money, right? Like, if I cared so much about somebody's opinion, then don't play. Like, if you care that much, just stop playing because you're forcing yourself to do something that you really don't want to do. Why? Because you care about other people at the table. You can't worry about what my opinion of you at the table is going to be or what Craig's opinion of you at the table is going to be, right? It's funny. I have people, who will come up to me and they'll be like, well, I thought you were going to be different. What'd you think I was going to do? Like, yeah,
Right.
sure. The name is Dice Degen. I'm not a complete degenerate at the casino, right? Like, it happened in my local because the one guy once came up to me and like he met me for the first time. And he was like, I expected you to be doing something completely different. I was like, what'd you expect? And he was like, oh, I expected you to be like going all the way across and doing crazy pressing and other stuff. I was like, why? Did I have the dice in my hands? No. Would I have done it with the dice in my hands? Probably not. But like, what's your perception of me that you're going to tell me how I should be betting?
Right. Well, you make a good point. But here's another concept: how each of these different personality types handle the dice at the table.
Yep.
Because I think they all do it differently. So here's a little bit of a breakdown of how the confident, timid, and undisciplined player physically interact with the dice and what it reveals about their mindsets. So Chris, we know that the dice don't lie, right? Every player's throw
true.
from the setup, the grip, the hesitation, the chaos exposes them to the table. Craps, I think, is the only casino game where we just said it, where the player physically interacts with the outcome. That means that your setup, your grip, even your breathing, and your own hesitation and follow through expose you as the player you are before the dice ever even hit the wall. Like I know that you've said it before. Somebody comes to the table, they buy in, they're the first one to get the dice. And immediately how they're handling them, how they're gripping them, how they're doing whatever. And then as soon as they toss, you're like, okay, I may wind up skipping this person, or I'm going to go 6 and 8 only, or I don't know. I might just wait until there's a point and I might wait a few rolls because this guy's all over the place. He's not doing anything consistent.
Yep.
We've seen it though, and the tables can read that too. The dealers can read it. the pit boss can read it, other players feel it, but most importantly, you feel it in yourself. But how does each archetype, Chris, that we've described here handle the dice? Do their mechanics match their mindset? Or how can a player tighten up their own, table presence?
So the confident player, right? Typically going to be, I don't want to say controlled, but they're going to be repeatable, right? Their toss is going to look very similar all the time, landing zone, all that kind of stuff. Consistent velocity, arc, everything like that, right? The timid player, you never know what you're going to get, right? You may get, somebody who is trying to learn how to throw or just kind of chicken feeding or doing whatever they're going to do, and it is what it is, right? And then the chaotic player, I mean, the dice are everywhere. They're off the table every other roll. They're bouncing around. I mean, you would think they were playing like on the bubble crash machine with the popper, and they're just going everywhere. And everything they do is just all over the place. And most of the time, you know what I view those people as, Craig? They're the showman. They're putting on a show when they're throwing the dice. I'm like, dude, I didn't buy an entry ticket. I don't need to see the show. Just throw the
They're like,
friggin' dice.
Watch this. Like
I'm
7.
like,
watch what?
yeah. And see, those are the people that I will chirp back and forth with, because those are usually the same people that are chirping at you when you're the shooter or when you're doing something. They're the ones who will say something to you. And they're like, oh, let me show you how a real shooter shoots. Because this has happened to me at my local. All right. I was throwing, and I was at an okay roll, not a great roll, but I didn't hit a point. I just kept throwing box numbers, but I never hit the point, right? And this guy was only betting pass line with odds. That's all he was betting. And he went on his whole, thing, hit the point, blah, 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 whatever. He gets the dice and he goes, I'm going to show you all how it's done. I'm like, oh, here we go, right? So I don't bet. Didn't bother to bet. Why? Because I would have placed the don't bet. Now, is that me, again, worrying about what other people at the table are going to do? No, I just don't need this interaction to continue. That's what it was, right? Because it's a conscious decision on my part that I don't want to keep feeding fuel to this. What's he do? He PSOs. So I made the conscious effort not to place the don't bet. However, I made the conscious effort to say, wow, I should really take some notes on that. Unfortunately, it was so short, I couldn't even write anything down. And that's what I said to the guy. And of course, the table starts laughing, right? Because nobody likes this guy at the table, right? Don't be this guy at the table, by the way, anybody at home. But it's a show for them, right? That's how it is. It's the ego. They're overconfident. But the overconfidence usually leads to chaos. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, totally. Total tilt. But you're right about the confident player. The confident player is the one who's, it's like a quick inspection. As soon as they get it back, like I guarantee they probably have the dice set and thrown within 7 seconds or less. And they may even be the one that tells the stick person, hey, do you mind bringing them back to me? As soon as you get them, don't roll them over. Just bring them right back. I just want to get them going. Shoot. But they're also betting that way too. Like they're pretty systematic on their betting. I don't know if there's one where, a personality type where you get two different kinds. I want to say that there is, because I'm not going to name the person. I'll tell Chris off camera, but there's a person that I know who I happen to think is a timid bettor, but is a very confident dice thrower, because they are very systematic with the way they throw dice and they are good at it. But for some reason, they don't bet, I think, the way that they should. And I'm not talking about you, Lou. Lou is a confident bettor. He just happens to play small. He does not
Very
play
systematically,
big.
though.
Very systematically, but he plays small, right? He's doing the 66 inside, gets a hit, turns his bets off, like whatever. Like that's his plan. There is no fault in that. I'm talking about, there's a person I know who I think could make a lot more money if they were more confident in their betting as much as they are in throwing. And I've seen this person hit the ATS and a small and a tall all in a row before they even sevened out. So I think you can have two, different types of these three combined, like different combinations. I don't think you're going to let's be honest. There's no confident player who's also the undisciplined player, because it's a false confidence. Okay. Like it's called bullshit at the table because that's what it is. They think they're being confident when they're just they're looking for attention, you know?
Yep.
Especially don't players. They're looking for attention. They want the world to know that everybody at the table sucks and that when you 7 out, they're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah. Literally.
But what Chris and I love is, sorry, we just happen to know how to hit a 6 or 8 or a point. So, good luck with your confidence because I think it's bullshit. But I think the timid player, when it comes to dice handling, picks them up gently. You'll never see them do the whole wall thing and just shake and bake. They're probably picking them up. Maybe they put them down one more time and then they systematically just you might see hesitation in their arm, but then they just throw it. And it's like, whatever happens, happens. But with them, like, they may glance around the table more because they're probably intimidated by players who are confident and people who do bet confidently. And sometimes you do have a confident player who are the ones yelling at you, "Hey, I need a hard 6." And that might intimidate the shooter. I was on a table at Golden Nugget, and they had this regular guy who came in all the time, and they call him Champ. That's what they called him, all the dealers. He used to have 2 rails, okay? 2 rails set up at the end of the table, and he made a lot of money. Why? He was playing $100 hop bets, but he was playing enough where whatever lost, he was still making $300 per hit. So, but he would intimidate the shooter and say, "Can you hit a 6? I need a 6. Can you hit a 6?" And it made the guy intimidated, and he wound up 7ing out. When he was on a good roll, he was hitting other inside numbers. Like, I don't give a shit that he couldn't hit the 6 anymore. You and I have both seen at the table rolls change over the course of a shoot. So somebody who had a 30-plus roller may have started out hitting 6s and 9s, and now they seem to be hitting 5s and 8s. Like, that kind of thing happens a lot. It doesn't mean they're not going to hit a 6 or 9 again, but it sure as hell means that you better follow them and change and adjust your bets to take your 6 and 9 to minimum and start pressing the 5 and 8 because that's what they're hitting now.
Yeah, you're getting like pockets almost.
Right.
Where you're just
the pockets
where you're
are
hitting you're hitting numbers in quick succession and then those numbers disappear for a little bit. And I know some people will say like that's a warning sign when you start hitting them again. I don't view it that way personally because at that point, hopefully I've pulled more than enough money off the table that the quote unquote warning sign, I could care less, right? But you have to be able to identify that with shooters, right? Like, and that's the benefit too of playing with people regularly where you know that, all right, if I'm throwing, 4s for me personally, there's probably 10s coming very, very soon. Right.
But see, I know that because I know you. So if I see it at the table, yeah, I'm going to be betting both.
Yep. But like, if I'm playing on some random that I don't know and like, I'll be keeping track of what's going on, right? And hopefully, they're on a 20, 30 roller where maybe they were hitting a lot of downtown numbers in the beginning of the roll, and now no downtown numbers are only hitting uptown numbers. Well, at that point, you got to shift your bets or at least have bets on the uptown that you can take advantage of, right? And that's the reason why a lot of people will say, like, pressing sisters and stuff, right? Which I don't personally agree with, like you, right? Now, there's instances where I will press sisters, but it's rare. It doesn't happen very often. Because if the number's not hitting, why would I bet on it? Now, if the number starts to hit, yes, I will bet on it, right? But my mentality on that is, for example, right, you're 6 and 8. Okay, let's say you have a $30 6, $30 8, right? Hit pays 35. Okay, you could bump up each 12 to 42. All right, now you're getting 50 for one on either one. Sounds great, sure. I'd rather press the 6 because it hit to 60 and leave my 8 at 30. And then when the 8 hits, press that up too, right? Or just press my 6 to 42 until the 8 starts to hit, because I've been on tables numerous times where I've had black chip level on 2 numbers and I've had 2 numbers at minimum. You're not hitting. I'm not gonna be wasting, and in my opinion, it's wasting money pressing those numbers in the hope that they do hit. Now, people are going to be like, well, you look like a genius when they do hit. Yeah, sure, right? But I could also tell you that if Craig's going to throw a 6-4-10 and I hop the 6-4-10, I look like a freaking genius then too. Like, I'd rather press the numbers that are hitting, and then once those numbers start to hit, by all means, I'm going to press them. But you got to be able to identify those sequences at the table.
Two things, great points. One, the only time I will actually bet the sister is only on the number that's now the point. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to bet the 5 and 9 if the point is 8. I'm going to bet the 6 along with the 8
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
the person's trying to make the point on the 8. So more than likely, we've seen sometimes that the 6 will hit. So I'll bet the sister at that time. The other point I wanted to make is you're going to have the undisciplined player is the person going to be yelling at you to hit a number because they've got it pressed up to, 300 on the 6 or 300 on the 8, and you haven't hit an 8 or a 6 in 12 rolls, and they're yelling at you, come on, man, hit another 6, hit another 8. I need one more hit on that. And you're like, fucker, were you even paying attention? Because we were hitting 6s and 8s about an hour ago, and we've been hitting 4s and 10s for the last 10 minutes. Like,
Yep.
why didn't you move your 300 on the 6-8 to the 4 and 10? You could have made a lot more money because we were hitting 4s and 10s. But no, your undisciplined ass decided to stay. And that's what you'll see. You'll see them stay on a number because it was hitting early. But you and I have both seen in long rolls the shift in what's hitting. It may
Yeah.
shift back, but how rare? It's pretty rare that it does shift back. You may get an occasional, if you're hitting 6s and 8s to begin the roll, you may go back and hit an 8, or you may hit a 6 and never hit an 8. But now you've shifted over to the 5s and 9s and 4s and 10s, or you've shifted to downtown or uptown, or you may have shifted to the horn section, which we've
Yeah.
seen. We've seen people shift to the horn section. You got to go and then bet what's hitting. You can't just sit there with your $300 6 when a 6 hasn't rolled in 25 rolls.
Yep. Well,
Like,
that happened
you're
on
just-
the roll that I had, that the $35 to the 900 in the rack. I threw 4 4s in the first, let's say, 8 to 10 rolls of that roll, right? I didn't throw another one for the next like 20 plus rolls. It never happened. And I was throwing them early. And I didn't throw another one again. Now, I was throwing 10s occasionally, not a ton, but I threw a couple of them. I was just hammering 6s and 9s. Those were the two numbers I was really hitting. But
Yeah.
and the horns for that matter. But that's what Craig's saying, right? Where you can't just assume the number's going to get hit again, because there were plenty of people that were, betting heavy on the 4 because I threw 4 of them quick. Well, guess what? I didn't throw another one. So you're betting heavy on it, hoping I'm going to hit another one. It's not coming. Do something different.
Yeah, I was at Harrah's on the ATS table, and Ted and Lou were in the distance. They could see me. They could see my roll. In fact, Ted actually corrected my arm from a distance on one of my to get me to go more to the center on the landing zone. But during that, I had a guy next to me at stick left too, and me, back in the day, didn't know shit about bet progression. So, here I am with a long 25 plus roll, and my 6 is sitting at 30. His 6 was sitting at 1200, but he, and he's chirping in my ear, hit another 6, hit another 6. Well, guess what? Never hit another 6 again. And he lost 1200 on that one number. Just the one number. I lost 30. He lost 1200. Like, I'm sorry, but I was going to the 9s, 8s and
Yeah.
9s. He didn't have any of those things up past like $60. I
Yeah.
don't know what to tell you. I'm not your mom. Like, bet
Exactly.
accordingly.
And here's a tip for people at home too, because I've done this a lot and sometimes it's to a fault, and more often than not it pays out, but sometimes it's to a fault where, like, I can get aggressive on my pressing because I like to full press collect, right? So I can get numbers pressed up pretty quickly. And if a shooter hasn't hit that pressed up number in a few rolls, I will drop that number back down, right? And some people be like, well, how could you do that? Like, it's paid for. Yeah, sure, it's paid for, but it's not hitting, right? I'd rather pull that money down. And will it hit again? I don't know. You don't know either, right? So if it hits again, yeah, I'm shit out of luck. I still have money on it, right? It may not be up as high as it was, But like you said, right, sometimes those numbers will not come. And more often than not, it will not come again. So I'd rather, after maybe 5, 6 rolls, there's not a set number, in my opinion, right? But like if Craig's throwing and he's just hammering 5s in the beginning of his roll, and then he goes like 6 rolls without hitting a 5, to tell you something, my 5 is coming down. Now, it's not going to go to table minimum, right? But if I have, let's say 100 on the 5, I may drop it to 50 or may drop it to something else. I won't give away for our top 5 list. I won't give away what I will drop it down to, but I will drop that bet back down. And if it hits, fine, no problem. I'll collect or I'll press, I'll do whatever. But if it's not rolling, I want to try to get those numbers down because sometimes they won't hit, right? And there's nothing worse than having that $1,200 6 out there, not hitting it, and then you're like, well, damn, I should have regressed it. You could have.
Now, I've spoken before about when I have a point, one of the things I try to challenge myself with is getting bets pressed up during the roll. And then once I hit a point, I'll bring all those bets back down to table minimum and start again after the next point gets established. But one of the things you were talking about was, if the number's not hitting. And if the number's not hitting, here's something that I'm trying to learn to discipline to do now is any box number over $50. I give it 3 rolls. If it doesn't hit in 3 rolls, it goes back down below. I'm still practicing that, but that's something that I've started to really look into because I told you I got my 6 up to 90 3 times during the last AC trip, and I didn't hit any of them. It sucks. But if I had put this into place, I would have taken those bets back down to 42 and then only lost 42 when 7 out. But instead, I lost 90 on them, and they just weren't hitting. But that's the thing. 4 of them had to hit for me to get my 6 up to 90. But they never threw a 6 again. Because like we've said, sometimes it's just sequential. So, or a sequence of a certain box number, and then you don't see that box number, it disappears. And you have to find a new box friend, new box number to become friends with and bet. But if you're not conscious of that, the undisciplined player is never going to figure that out. They're going to keep losing 1,200 on a 6 when it's not hitting. The timid player, okay, let's be honest, the timid player is not even getting their 6 pressed up to $1,200. The confident player probably hit it once and then knows that they're going to regress it by half. And then they're going to build up back to it. And when they lose to 1,200, they don't give a shit because they made $2,000 off of it.
Yep. You know what the chaotic player is going to be doing too on that 6? Since you haven't thrown it in a couple, they're going to keep hopping them and keep chucking money to the middle there. Hop them. Right. And guess what?
That's right.
Shit's not coming.
No, it's not.
It's not coming. But you know what is coming, Craig?
Top
5. And our top 5 today is the top 5 bet progressions to try at the craps table. I'm excited for this one.
Your list, I guarantee, is going to be a little bit better than mine. Mine's very plain Jane, but I
came up with this shit 20 minutes ago, so I don't know.
I have one that I'm going to contest. So my own ranked one. So,
all right, my number 5 is an ode to Blackjack, actually. But you can play it on the craps table on any like even money payout bet. So pass line, field, don't pass, anything like that. It is the 1-3-2-6 bet progression. So you start with 1 unit. Your next bet is 3 units. Your third bet drops to 2 units. And then your fourth bet is 6 units. And the premise behind it is, right, that your first bet is 1 unit. If you win it or if you lose it, right, you go up to 3 units. So even if you lose that bet, you recover your first one. And then your second one, you try to take a little bit of an aggressive approach by going up to 3, right? Then you drop it back down to 2. So if all goes well, you hit the first bet, you hit the second bet, you've pulled 4 units back to the rack. Okay. Now you're going for a 2-unit bet. And then if you win that, you have a 6-unit bet. And if that loses, you would technically be breaking even if you hit bets 1 through 3. Now, me personally, I start at 1 and I may keep staying at 1, but I always go back to the beginning of it. Some people like to just keep going through the whole progression. I find that a quick way to lose money, especially when you're in a bad downturn. So I like to just stay at 1 until I win the 1, go up to 3. If I lose at 3, I'll go back to 1. But when it works out, it's a 12 unit win when you can hit the 4, so it's nice. So yeah, 1, 3, 2, 6.
I love that. I love that. I have not tried that at Blackjack. I am aware of it, but I have not tried it. I've actually never tried that at the craps table, which would be interesting, especially on a 4 and 10. That would be wicked.
Yeah.
25 to 75, back down to 50, up to 150. That'd be sweet.
It'll be very sweet. Could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
very
yeah.
sweet. All right, Craig, number 5.
All right. Again, some of these are plain Jane, but you know what? If you're a new beginner player, some of these are pretty good to start with. So my number 5 is the 1 unit patient press. So this is a slow burn, right? You start with your base unit. Every 2 hits of a number, you press by just 1 unit. But remember, it's by unit. That's the disciplined part of this. So when Chris and I are talking about pressing, we're not talking about pressing chaotically. We're not going from a $15 5 up to a $50 5. No, you're going from a $15.5 to a $35. Not a 35, a $30 5. You're going up by 1 unit. My unit is $15. Sometimes your unit will be 25. So you'll go from 25 to 50. It's the safest way, I think, to press a bet. Because you're not, obviously your first one is basically a full press because you're pressing by 1 unit and you only had your base unit. So, but after that, it's not. After that, you're building up on it. So, and again, you could either build up on it twice and then collect, or you can just collect and press. It doesn't matter. But it's simplistic to think about. And honestly, your dealer is going to adapt to you very quickly.
Oh, yes. Sometimes plain Jane is good, though.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. My number 4 bet progression is the $18 6 or 8, drop 3 and go to 42. I love that one.
I love that. I love that. My number 4, I'm going to change it up right now, but I'm going to tell you what the initial one was because this is the one I was going to contest and tell you that it's shit. My new number 4 is the opposite of Chris, and it's play 30 on the 6 and 8, 1 hit, drop $1, go down to 18 each. I love both. I love both. Like I've said, if it's a person I know, I'll drop 3, go to 42, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somebody I don't know, I'll do 30 on the 6 and 8. It hits, drop $1 because it wins 35, go down to 18 each. You're out of the hand. You're invested $1. I can live with that.
Yeah.
My contested number 4 is same bet then half press. I hate the words half press. Half press sucks. It just does. Don't do it. I don't believe in it. I believe if you're going to same bet, then same bet. Look, I'll be surprised, or you'll be surprised, that people have made money same betting while undisciplined players go off the rails and start power pressing. So same bet is safe. Half press suck. Like, why are you half pressing? Just collect the first one and then full press. Yep. Like, take half press and shove it up your half and half and have your coffee.
I like that. Yeah. I don't believe in or agree with the half press at all. Now, are some of my bets half presses? Sure. But am I actively half pressing consistently? No. Why? Craig said the same bet is powerful. It is. All right. I've run many simulations. I've done videos on all this kind of stuff. The half press works in very specific scenarios where it will outperform a same bet or a full press collect. But long term, the same better or the full press collect will do better than the half presser on 95% of the rolls of the craps table. There's a very small subset of rolls that the half presser does better than either one of those systems on. So I don't agree with it at all. I don't believe in it. And like Craig said, shove it.
All right, by the way, if you're half pressing at Ellis Island, get the fuck out.
Can you even half press at Ellis Island? Does that even exist? Is that why they had the
Hey, if somebody gets their blackjack chips mixed up with the craps chips, yes,
I
you
was
could
just
do
gonna
half
say,
press on.
is that why they have the 250 chips so they can start betting that? And dealers gonna pay you out in pennies? Yeah, good one.
Now,
All right,
technically, I was half pressing at blackjack just to get rid of the chip, which worked, but not the second
it
time. And
did.
the dealer got pissed and she gave me dollar chips.
Yeah, she did get pissed.
Number
All right,
3.
my number 3 is $30 6 and 8 pays 35. Take your 6 or 8, whatever one hit to 60 nickel to the hard way.
The reason I love that is because, like you said earlier, it's about getting on board with that one number. Because why? Because you're playing it individually. You should be playing all box numbers as individual bets. That's why Chris and
100%.
I, you don't really see us ever sister press, because sister pressing a lot of times is just wasting your money on a number that's not hitting. I would rather take all of it and just fucking power press. If I'm out of the hand on a single number.
Agreed. All right, Craig, what's number 3?
All right, number 3 for me is the 2 hits and out progression. So you take 2 hits on a number, press once, and then pull everything down. Especially, I like to do this on people I have no who the fuck you are, because I don't know how you roll, I don't know how you play, and I don't want to be a part of it. I just want to try to get a couple of hits and get the fuck out of Dodge on you as a shooter. And here's the other thing, and people may think, and they may put it in comments, and please feel free to put comments at FullofChipsPodcast@gmail.com. OBC, you're an idiot. Who the hell would just take it all down? Okay, A, fuck you, and B, taking it all down. Imagine if you did that on all the other 10 players around the table. That means you got 20 hits and collected. And I guarantee you'd probably have a couple of hundred sitting in front of you that you didn't have before it all went around.
That's a good point. Very valid point. All right, my number 2 is this is the example that I didn't want to give away earlier with betting on the 5 and the 9. It is the G Money special on the 5 and 9. $40 5, $40 9. When it hits, it pays 56. You drop 4, go to 100. If it hits at 100, pays 140. You take the 2 blacks back and you have your $40 bet there ready to go. I love that one. It's similar to I'll play it in a similar style as like that 2 hit and then take it down, right? Where it's like, I may start let's say I start my 5 at, it might start at a quarter, it may start at 15, whatever it is, get it to 40 on hit number 1. Hit number 2 goes to 100. On that 3rd hit, it would be coming back down to 40, and I'd be bringing 2 blacks back to the rack.
It's a rinse and repeat. You got to love it.
I love that one.
That kind of goes in with my number 2, which is the ladder press. So this is every hit you move up 1 unit. Every miss you reset to base. Now I've said that I've reset to base when I hit a point, which is kind of a little challenge to myself of pressing until that person hits the number. Obviously if it's been a long roll, like 20 plus, and they're just not ever making another point or hitting the point, yeah, make a decision. Are you going to take it down or are you going to go for it? Like, that's up to you. But this is pretty simple. It's structured, and it's brutally honest about variance.
I like that one. All right, Craig. My number 1, for the folks at home who know me, that you should know this is going to be my number 1 on a bet progression. It is the absolutely impossible, never happens ever in the history of craps, 410 flip. Why? Well, because it was created by Adam and myself. $35 4 and 10 goes to 100. You collect the first one at 100, so you bring 2 blacks back to the rack. Everybody forgets that step. Okay.
Why do you do it?
Me,
Why do you do it? It's to get out of the fucking hand.
Exactly. Everybody tells me, "Oh, this is impossible. It's never gonna happen." Guess what? You know how common it is to get 2 hits on a 4 or a 10, especially when somebody's throwing them. It's very common. Anyway, you collect your second hit, and then your 3rd hit goes to 350. 4th hit pays you, and you bring it back down from there, but you bring back over 1100 to the rack. Is the 4 hits likely? No. Is it probable? Sure. You really only need 2 hits, though. Everybody thinks you need the 4. You really only need 2, but I absolutely love that move, especially when it works, obviously. But It's a really quick way to get that 410 pressed up and then bring some money back down to the rack. If you want to go at it a little bit more timidly, you could start at 15 to 35, 35 to 100, collect there. You need 3 hits there, but you can still do it. And there's nothing better, Craig, let me tell you, than starting on a $15 410 and pulling 2 blacks off the table.
It's amazing. Here's my thing. I haven't tried this yet, and I always mean to, but I always forget. If you're very systematic about your bet progressions, regardless of the box number, if the box number then becomes the point, it becomes established, why not consider that the first hit? And whatever your bet would normally be after a box number is hit once is actually your starting bet. So 35, right? But the 4 was just the first one. The 4 was just established as the point. Okay, well, I'm going to make believe that was my $35 bet. So now I'm going to start higher. So I think easier, I think, in your scenario of starting at 15, because then you could just go up to 35 and just start with a $35 bet. Starting with a $100 bet on the 4 and 10, I don't think it's always the best idea, but if you're confident, I mean, how many times have we seen people who establish the 4 or the 10 as a bet, and they always seem to hit the point. They always seem to hit it again. It's
especially
amazing
when there's
how
an
many times
adult
we've
against
seen
it.
It's amazing how many times we've seen them hit a repeater on the 4 and 10.
Yep, happens a lot.
Look, I watched a guy throw 4 5s in a row, and I did nothing at the time. I was such a timid player. Like I was like, I want to play that G Money special, but I never put the bet out there. And then the guy hits it fucking 4 times.
Yep.
That's the worst feeling, man.
happens.
When you could have made money and you didn't.
I feel you. What is your number 1, Craig?
All right, my number 1, I'm dubbing, this is the signature FOC style progression. Okay, you start with base units on the 6 and 8 because you and I love the 6 and 8, or your preferred inside set. Doesn't make a difference. First hit, same bet. Collect your bet. Get out of the hand. Second hit, full press. Third hit, lock in profit and get ready, because your fourth hit, you're going to power press.
I like it. FullofChips endorsed right there.
FullofChips endorsed.
Yes, I like that one a lot. Not enough.
We're
going to
call it the FOC. We'll call it the FOC fourth hit press.
Yes, the FOC inside press or something. I don't know. We'll come up with some creative name for it. But no, great top 5 list. All great ways to press and to make your moves when you are on the table. And again, I know we gave specific examples for certain numbers, but you can adapt most of these to fit a variety of numbers, with the exception of the 410 flip, because no other number pays that way, so it doesn't work that well for you. But everything else is relatively scalable for other box numbers, so just keep that in mind. But overall, great top 5, Craig.
The best kind of bet progression is a blend of discipline with aggression.
Yes.
So you're disciplined up front, get out of the hand, and they always say, go for the moon. Well, why not? Fucking go for it. Like, don't do it slowly. What's the point? You're out of the hand. So you may want to just, go small on your next press because you don't want to power press right at that moment. But hey, if that number, like Chris hit 9 6s, if I had started with Chris when he started the roll, after the 4th, 6th was hit, I'd be up to 90. I go from 90 to 180 to 300. Like, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And then I'll decide when it hits for 350, I could take 600 back to the rack, right? And go down to like a $60 bet. Or you go for it. You're like, fuck, I want to take 50 back to the rack, but now I got a $600 6. You would have hit it that day. You would have hit it.
You would have hit it. I would have hit it if I had money to start the roll.
That is a problem. That's a problem.
But Craig, you know what's not a problem, Craig? Our tip of the episode is not a problem, hopefully, for many.
It's not a problem.
It may be. So, what is our tip of the episode?
All right. Our tip of the episode is just going to continue what we've just been talking about. You have to learn how to bet. It will save you at the table. It will save you with any kind of shooter that comes to the table. Your ability to adjust to the table and bet accordingly. You got to learn how to bet. I would say if you're the kind of person that wants to throw at the table, learn how to bet first. Learn how to bet first, because you may not always get the dice. when you're at the table, but if you do, know how to bet, because if you are the shooter, and I've been the shooter before, and I've hit the ATS before, and I've made only $300. Why? Because A, I wasn't on the ATS, and B, on my 49 roller, I didn't know how to bet, so I wasn't betting while I was shooting because I was concentrating on shooting. So learn how to bet, because most players know how to play the game of craps, but the winners know how to bet. Anyone can roll the dice, anyone can cheer for a point, but the players who survive and the ones who walk away with full of chips are the ones who understand the betting progression and architecture of the game. You could say learn where the house edge hides. I don't give a shit. Just learn how to bet. Bet what's rolling. Start with that. Start with bet what's rolling, because like we've said a number of times, there's more than likely that a box number is going to repeat and it's going to hit again. And if you're comfortable with, once you're out of the hand, if you're comfortable with betting progressions, there's no reason why you can't start sizing up your bets pretty quickly. So learn how to bet. I'll tell you one more thing why this tip I think is a really good one, because betting's the only part of the game that you can control. Once you throw the dice, you can't control the dice. You can't control how they land. You can't control them hitting or not hitting the back wall. You can't control them not hitting the back wall and them saying no roll, or they're going to accept the roll for what it is. But you can control your betting. So learn how to bet.
Essential. It's essential, because there's so many people want to learn how to throw sometimes, and I'm like, well, if you can't bet, what does it matter if you can throw? Like, honestly, what does it matter? Because if you can throw, but you can't make money, all right, what does it matter? So definitely learn the betting. You can learn how to throw. I'm not discouraging that also, but learning the betting piece of it is super, super important, super, super essential. So that is a great tip of the episode. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed episode 37. I did. I know I did. Enjoyed the discussion. Did not enjoy seeing Craig's hand there, but hopefully Craig's hand will be on the mend. And McDonald's, if you're listening to this, I am going to tag you in this video, by the way. You owe the man something. You owe the man something. All right. For the folks at home, though, who want something, full-length episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Short-form content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you need to email us, you can find us at FullofChipsPodcast@gmail.com. If you want to jump in the Patreon, link is down below. Craig, take us out on episode 37.
Well, Chris, if you don't learn how to bet, the table will teach you, but the tuition's going to cost you your entire pocket full of chips.
On the